Hello friends, and welcome to another edition of Transformational Astrology. I'm still on the road. I'm here in Norway, just returning home after a conference in Belgrade, which was really fantastic. Really enjoyed that. Anyway, I want to talk about this full moon eclipse that's coming up next week, and also in light of the fact that it was the follow-up to that powerful new moon of March 8th. So we'll talk about that, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done that already. And let's take a look at this chart. Well, here's the chart for this full moon eclipse. And it's an eclipse, and so therefore it's a more powerful full moon, but also we're in an eclipse cycle since the new moon for March 8th was also an eclipse. And that triggered all these outer planet formations because it was at 19 degrees of Pisces. And now what we have is, the sun is finally in Aries. So the equinox has happened a couple days ago before this. And we also have Mercury has entered into Aries. Check that out. So with Mercury so close to the sun, this is a good time to be aware of our intellectual powers, what we get from pure rationality. And that is part of what's going on right now because we are in a very thoughtful time, are we not? This is really the follow-up to a very powerful season when we really start to look at what's going on under the surface within ourselves. We start to see where we need to change, where the changes are just inevitable and have to take place. And we can see that in this chart by the strong presence still of Pluto in the 10th house of this chart, natural chart based on the Aries rising and whole sign. And it is also Capricorn. So that means that we have a rulership of Saturn, and Saturn is still very closely involved with Pluto. So that we have a very powerful time right now. Saturn is getting ready to station, actually. Saturn will station on the 25th of March, 2 days after the eclipse, the full moon. With Saturn slowing down means more powerful. So with a lot of Saturn in this configuration, we are really kind of almost stopped dead in our tracks. Actually, Mars is slowing down as well. Mars, which is forward motion, is slowing down, about to turn retrograde next month, the middle of the month. So that's very interesting. It's in the same sign, of course, as Saturn now in Sag. So what we have is a time of slowing down, taking stock, really looking at what we're up to. And that's what the real message of this eclipse is, to pay closest possible attention to what's going on inside ourselves. We have a strong presence of Mercury. We also have a strong presence of Saturn. And the fact that Mars is about to retrograde means that, and Mars is also parallel to Saturn right now, and to Pluto, of course. Pluto and Saturn are still very closely parallel each other. So we have a really strong combination here. Could be suppressed anger, could be that you feel something boiling and bubbling under the surface and you feel like it's contained but it might explode. Could also just be that things slow down. You don't find that things move as fast as you would like. In the outer world, that does give us a chance to look at things more closely in the inner world. So this is a very thoughtful time, very powerful time. We have also the presence of Chiron in conjunction with the South Node, very close conjunction with the South Node, and it is also semi-sextile to Eris at 22 in Aries. So we have a strong Chiron presence. Chiron is parallel also to the Sun and Moon in this full moon eclipse. So we have, the impulse for going forward, having the Sun come into Aries like this. It's the spring equinox. The whole world is blooming and blossoming, at least in the northern hemisphere. And it is a powerful time with the moon and the sun being fairly closely aligned to the nodal axis, which makes it an eclipse, and with Chiron so closely involved with the axis too. It's a time for really looking into what holds us back from being who we really want to be. And that's really the situation with Chiron, isn't it? Chiron is the wounded healer. It's actually a great treasure once you can get past the wounded places, and we don't always accept ourselves in those dark places within us. That's the message of Chiron. I've been talking about it quite a bit over the months that we've done this. And also, we have Pluto, which means dramatic change. It has to take place. Time to slow down, time to look in within, time to see what needs to be let go of. Pluto is about letting go. And Uranus is also involved in this, is the emphasis toward, the deep intuition toward, and the vision toward finding what it is that we need to do with ourselves, where we need to make changes, and where there's a minor revolution, which really is an R plus evolution that's happening for us right now. So it's a powerful time, a time to take stock and to think more closely into what we're up to, and to really pay attention to anything that comes up that seems to be based on a past pattern, something that we don't really need to have, interfering with our forward motion. So that's what we have for you today. Something to think about, this full moon eclipse. It's a very powerful time in our lives with a lot of Saturn present, and even more so in the next 2 days following when it stations. And a lot of Chiron as well. So it's really time to dig in, to think closely about what's happening for you. Think about where Saturn is in your natal chart as well, because that will be affected, and that is the place that you're focused in much of your energy. It's a place where you are making changes of a slow variety, and even more so in these 2 weeks leading up to the next new moon. And one resource for looking into this is actually Liz Green's terrific book, which is called Saturn, A New Look at an Old Devil, talking about how you can take the positive side of Saturn in your natal chart. And then also there's Chiron resource in the fact of Melanie Reinhardt's terrific book, Chiron and the Healing Journey. And then the book that I wrote is about Eris, is the 10th planet, Eris, Revelations from the Astrological Eris. And that's been more and more accepted lately by the astrological community as a good way to look at Eris in the natal chart. So, and then of course the Time Passages software now has Eris interpretations for both Mac and Windows on the desktop. So that's what we got for you this week. Have a good couple of weeks. Talk to you soon.